Hello and welcome to the Dialogue, the show that has discussions about the latest sports topics of the day. I'm your host with the Golden Mic, Daniel Campbell, and I'm here with the one to envy, Brian Campbell, and the star of the show, Charlie Murphy. In today's episode, we'll talk about the conference finals and our predictions for what's going to happen, the NBA draft lottery predictions, as well as the fallout, and finally on the YouTube's bonus content, the Suns and the conspiracy behind their loss. All right, well, to get started, let's jump right into it. We had a we had a pretty interesting night last night with the Heat and the Celtics, and then we also had an interesting night tonight with the I still want to call it the Suns, but the Suns did not win. And it's still baffling me that the Suns did not win. But we have the Mavericks and we have the Golden State Warriors. We'll go ahead and we'll start with the game from last night, the Heat and the Celtics. Um, how are you guys feeling? What's the temperature check on how you're feeling with everything that transpired last night? We'll go to Brian first.
Be
Jimmy
smooth,
Butler
man.
is a legit superstar, and there's no denying it. And it's about time. I never thought he was a superstar, even though people were calling him that. I didn't even think he was a star because he wasn't giving you enough production offensively. And I don't judge my stars or superstars by their defensive prowess. But what I can say is this is going to be a very long series. Very long series for Jason Tatum. He's going to be guarded by this team because the Heat are they're just very rough, rugged, and they like to get up into your body and not let you do what you want to do best.
What about you, Charlie?
Well, right before the podcast, I rewatched the highlights. Jimmy Butler was the best player on the court that game. Best player, you know. I like stats 'cause, it's my job here. Stats. 12 of 19, 41 points. He did it without making a single three. Reminded me of DeRozan, but Jimmy looked better at it. So I don't know what happened with Jason Tatum. To be honest, first half he was good. He made a lot of the first two quarters. He made a lot of tough shots. The third quarter he cooled off, but I can easily see this going to Game 6, if not Game 7. So
The old man here, but 2 point shots are actually good shots. I know people think it's supposed to be a layup or a three all the time, but a 3 point shot is actually a terrible shot unless your name is Steph Curry.
Well,
Let's
hey,
just
Steph isn't shooting all that great this year. He's declined a lot,
this year,
and it has a
this
lot
year.
to do with age, probably.
better
Yeah,
than Clay.
but outside of Steph Curry and probably Klay Thompson, and I would say maybe Dame Lillard, who the heck is hitting those shots
Well,
consistently?
I'll just say this: I predicted that the Boston Celtics were going to the NBA Finals and probably going to win the championship. Um, the second that the playoffs started. And the reason why I chose them was because I felt that from top to bottom, they have a roster that is 10 men deep. So that's going to wear teams down over a long period of time because even when their stars don't have it going, they can go to the bench. They can get production out of Grant Williams, out of Peyton Pritchard. They can get production out of a Robert Williams who's hobbled. They can get production out of a Al Horford. So that all of that's invaluable through a long playoff run when your stars are wearing down. Now, last night they in the first half they beat the brakes, and I mean beat the brakes off of the Heat, right? But what happened basically is what I knew was going to happen. I was talking with some coworkers, and we were talking about predictions because they were trying to figure out how to bet, the Miami Heat and the Celtics. And I said, hey, Celtics in six, but if you're going to bet this game, do not choose the Celtics, choose the Heat. And the reason why I said that was because I knew that the Celtics were coming off of Game 7, which means that they were emotionally high off of their win from Game 7. That's emotionally drained from all of that. They not only that, but after Saturday, they had to travel to Miami. Not only travel to Miami, but play 1 day, 2 days after beating the Milwaukee Bucks. All of that was going to wear on them at some point in the game, and I felt like the Heat would take advantage of that. So, and that's exactly what we saw. We saw Miami Heat come out with more energy than Boston at this in the second half, and it just proved to be just too much because they had too much energy. Jimmy Butler's good; he's bubble Jimmy again, but I just don't see it from them. Um, any other thoughts on this game?
Jimmy Butler, he got to the foul line, 18 shot attempts. Definitely got some of the Celtics players in foul trouble. So he's getting what he wants.
Now let me ask you guys
So,
this, because we talked a lot about Jimmy Butler, but he's only one player, right? He's only one
mhm.
player. So who else from the Heat is going to step up when Jimmy doesn't have it going? Because it's going to happen in one of these games. So who's going to do it?
uh, the other two scorers, like your next best scorer is probably Tyler Hero coming off the bench. To be honest, I mean Gabe Vincent, he's decent. Victor Oladipo, he's got to score. But your next best scorer is probably Tyler Hero. You're gonna get some points out of Bam, but I don't expect him to consistently light it up. You're
I,
not really getting offense from PJ Tucker.
I
You're just not.
disagree.
Go ahead,
That's
Smoke.
not the next best. That's not the best second best scorer. It's
Who's the
probably
second?
Kyle Lowry actually, because Hero's streaky. It depends on who's guarding him if he gets off.
Well,
Kyle
Kyle Lowry
Lowry,
doesn't matter. He's not going to probably play
Yeah,
every
he's not
series.
playing. He's not playing.
He
I think
barely
he's gonna.
played last series, and the Heat are better off without him.
I actually think he's gonna play more at the end of this series.
He's not healthy enough. He's got too many injuries, and then he pulled a hamstring on top of that. He's probably not
I'm
going to play.
aware. I am aware, but I think around game 3 he's gonna get back in there. He's gonna get healthy.
And even if he
Get
gets
back in.
there, it's gonna be just like the Milwaukee series. He's going to hurt them more than help. Gabe Vincent is the clear best player to play with in
Well,
the
I
Heat lineup.
think he matches up with Marcus Smart better than anybody else.
Yeah, if he were healthy.
If he gets on the court and he produces, it will be huge. I'm gonna agree with Bree Smooth there, but this is the wrong time not to be healthy. It really is.
Exactly. And if you're on the court, you got to play and you got to play well, and you cannot use injuries as an excuse. So I don't want to see him on the court if he's not healthy enough to help them play. And and knowing the Miami Heat, they're not probably going to play him. That's why they sat him during the Milwaukee series. I'm sorry, I said I keep saying Milwaukee series. Rather, I should say Philadelphia series. He was hurting them. The 2 games that they lost, he hurt them. He absolutely hurt them in those 2 games that they lost in Philly. That's why they sat him the rest of the series. And what did they do? They went on a run. Um, I think that Hero is going to have that one game because he just seems to have one game in the playoffs every series where he just goes crazy and he gets like 30 something points off of threes, and he'll have like 5, 6, 7 assists, maybe 5 rebounds, something like that. But that's just one game. You'll have a Max Strus game where he scores like 25 to 30 points, maybe 5 rebounds. But again, one game. So this is the reason why I chose the Celtics over the Heat. It's just because if Jim, there's you need to have 4 amazing games from Jimmy Butler. Now they got one game from him, but now they've got to put together a string of 3 more games at some point where Jimmy Butler just goes out of his mind. He's phenomenal, and he goes nuclear on them. And I just don't believe it to be true.
I want to chip in for a second. Your camera is frozen, by the way. Oh,
Okay.
now it's back.
Okay.
Wow. The whole time you were talking was
Yeah.
okay. You weren't smiling, but it's strong.
And I want to
Yeah.
I want to add that the fourth quarter has started and Golden State is
Yeah, we know.
waxing.
Well, we're about to get to that series now. So let's talk about Golden State. Um, let's talk about Golden State, and let's talk uh, about the Mavericks. So
Luka. Oh, the Mavericks.
yeah, that's your boy.
Oh,
Who's
I
going to
want
win
to get
this?
in. Oh, let me go. I got
Hold on. Can I ask the question, man? All right, who's gonna win this series and why? Smooth.
Oh, it's going to be Golden State. It's. I hate to say this
No, you
to
don't.
our listeners, but
No, you don't.
this is the WWE. It's scripted. Yeah, I'm just letting you know what it is. I think the NBA has realized that this is a TV show more than it is basketball. And what I've seen so far in this game that I'm literally looking at to my left right now is Luka's not getting those same ticky tack calls he was getting last series. Every time he drives to the lane, he's getting contested the very same way Phoenix did, but they're not calling it. He's ended up on his behind, but they're not calling that foul. And it gives me so much joy to not have to look at that stupid face, smile. He looks like a weasel when he smiles like that. Yes, he does. He looks like a weasel. And it gives me so much pleasure to not have to watch him flop, flail, and get cheap foul calls. Just
All right, Charlie, what do you think? Who's gonna win and why?
Oh, see, I'm going this today. I'm just going to go the opposite of everyone. Just someone's got to be that. So I'm taking the Heat. Obviously, I got to go with the
Wait,
Mavs, man. I got to. The
all
Mavs
right, I knew you
already
would.
knocked out. Someone's. Hey, I gotta be. We can't all be. We can't all agree here. We just can't. Okay. That won't do anything for the audience. Okay. I mean, I'm here for the audience. Okay. I'm here for you all to be adversaries.
Doing it for you
Um,
people.
now he's lying to you. He's here for
First of all, the Mavs just beat up on. They just like that last game with the Suns. Suns got spanked. Okay, I fully expected the Suns was my pick to go at all in their conference. They were my pick. The Mavs took them out. It was a struggle. I know that's bonus context, and we're not going to talk about it too much. But I'm giving them a fighting chance. Yeah, Golden State. Okay, they have what Curry and what Poole are the main two scorers because Clay is shooting garbage. He is shooting garbage. Curry shot some garbage too. Don't get me wrong. Draymond's really not giving you a 20. He might get 10. He might get a triple double, but it'll be 10, 10, 10, the bare minimum just to get a triple double. I'm going with the Mavs. Okay, and that's it. I'm not going to talk about it too much because that's bonus contact. But I got to go with Luka here.
But here's the thing. Draymond is not going to get pushed around like anybody else got pushed on Phoenix. Draymond's going to say, give me Luka, I got him, and he's going to shut him down. That's literally what's going to happen.
If it's,
And
if
I don't think Draymond is as great of a defender as Draymond thinks he is. He's more of a help defender than he is an on-ball defender. But with Luka's slow behind, Luka's not going to be able to back him down and push him and throw a shoulder into him and knock him over.
Now I have to agree with Brian just a little bit here because I think that Draymond is a really good defender. He's good at defending without fouling,
Thank you.
which makes a great deal of
unless
difference.
he kicks you in the groin or smacks you in the face. If
Correct.
he doesn't do one of those things too, then yeah, he's a
Correct.
good defender.
Absolutely.
Well, I hope
But
he kicks him in the groin.
but I also will throw out that he's good in the pick and roll situations, which is all that Luca does, pretty much is pick and roll or he ISOs. ISO's not going to get it done against an experienced team like Golden State. You're going to have to get your teammates involved. The problem is that Luca doesn't have great teammates. He has a bunch of dudes, just a bunch of dudes who happen to play in the NBA. They're good enough to do that, but they're not good enough to win a championship. It's just that simple. So I think that Luca's a very good player. I'm going to enjoy watching him lose because I think he's a crybaby and I can't stand his face. He's got that face that I just want to punch.
So we do.
So much
Say what?
violence over there. So
So listen,
much violence over
No,
there.
no, no. He's like Aaron Rodgers for me, dude. He gets under my skin with all that crying. I just in the same way that I can't stand.
Everyone cries. Everyone cries when they don't get their call though. Everyone does that. What makes them so different?
It's
Everyone
10
calls.
times it's 10 times worse with him.
It,
You know it's bad when everyone talks about Luca. Like everyone talks about him and complains about his crying. That's you're on another level when everybody's complaining about you.
no,
You just are.
I'm gonna wait for my rebuttal for the bonus content because I want to rebuttal that. But I'm
But
waiting.
I'm not saying he's good.
No. Luka's on the level of what LeBron and D Wade were doing when they were doing all that flailing and that foul. Remember when they
I
first got
totally agree
together?
with that. I totally agree with that. He is just annoying, absolutely annoying, and it drives me crazy with all the Luka love because I think that he's a good player, but I
Don't
think
break a leg.
he's overhyped, and it drives me crazy because I just think we know why he's getting the love he's getting. I don't have to say it. We
Because
both
he's a
know.
talent.
We all
Okay, he's
know
a
why
superstar.
he's getting the
He's
love
a
that he's
superstar.
getting, but he's not. He is a superstar. He's a top 10 talent. But we all know the true meaning of why he's getting the love he's getting, and he's not that good. We're going to talk a lot more about that in the bonus content, so I won't give too much away. But it just drives me absolutely insane, and I'm going to love watching him cry.
Okay. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Okay. It's who would you rather, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the playoffs, who would you rather take? Obviously, the alternate is Luka. Would you rather take James Harden in his prime or Luka in the playoffs?
I'll take Luka every time because James Harden's a hoe. Okay. When you look at James Harden and you see that the beard, right? Okay, I'm just gonna ask you when you see the beard on James Harden and it's all like well manicured and stuff. Do you ever just wonder like if he peeled it back like right here, like would there be a clit right there? Like that's what I think of because he's a whole hoe. Like that's how I view James Harden.
That's your answer. Go ahead, Beast Mode. Who would you rather? We got a quick shot this because we only got so much time. Go ahead.
I don't know the correct answer to that because technically James Harden was one Chris Paul hamstring away from NBA Finals.
And he still is going to melt down. We know this.
James Harden shrinks in the playoffs. In the regular season, he's a stud. In the playoffs, he don't get those same calls. Chris Paul, he's the master in blowing 0-2 leads in the playoffs. Luka, even in his young career, he's been a stud every playoff series because the big thing was he don't got enough help. He got no. Just now, you said he don't got a surrounding cast, but he's a star. That's Luka's problem. In the playoffs,
score. Chris Paul has never had tremendous talent around him until this Phoenix team.
Like he's still and that's fine. He's not a scorer. He's a playmaker. I'm gonna talk about him in the bonus content. He's a playmaker, okay, decent defender. But
until Devin Booker, he never had a top 10 guy.
Well, let's not talk too much about him because we're getting into our bonus content. So
my point is, Luka shows up in his young career. He showed up every playoff, every series, and then some of these MVP candidates and stuff don't show up. I would take Luka because you know he's gonna be your number one, and he can deliver at a number one.
You can't touch him, and we don't have to get into the reason why you can't touch him. But
well, we're going to talk about that in the bonus content. So let's go ahead and drop that. Let's move on to the next subject. Let's talk about the NBA draft. The lottery was last night, so we got to see who's going to have the first top 10 picks. Let's talk about some predictions and some surprises there as to who got the first pick. I'll go ahead and start. I'll just have to say, first of all, I did not think that the Orlando Magic were going to get the first overall pick. I never thought that, not once. The NBA conspiracy theorist in me kept telling myself, New York Knicks, New York Knicks, New York Knicks. But I think the NBA has something against the Knicks to begin with. And just because they haven't had a number one overall pick since they tanked for Patrick Ewing. They just haven't. And they've had the ability to have a number one overall pick for a number of years, as we know, because they have tanked a lot. So I do believe that there's something there. Also, I will throw out that I was hoping that maybe Houston or someone like that was going to get it, but they didn't. It's unfortunate. But I'm excited just to see because we got a lot of promise. I'll throw it over to Charlie.
Houston got the third. To be honest, the biggest surprise was Sacramento getting the fourth pick. They jumped up. I forgot how many stops. Sacramento jumped up to get the fourth pick, so they're happy. It's Bulls fans. We'll take the fourth overall pick. We're not even in the top 15 though. That'll be the biggest surprise. Ultimately, I don't really care about the top three teams who picked who. Who they pick though, first overall, will be interesting. So, because I've looked at some different mock drafts. I don't know. How much college you all keep up with. Anybody know who Chet Holmgren?
Yeah, I know Chad. Yeah, from
If
Gonzaga.
I'm saying his name wrong.
Yeah, it's Holmgren. Like Mike
Okay.
Holmgren from the Packers. Chet Holmgren.
So, if they pick him first, I mean, the Magic has always had bigs, right? You know, they had Shaq, they had the White. Uh, he's, I mean, they have him in the drafts, the mocks to get him, simply because he has arguably the highest ceiling in this entire draft. Arguably. So, you know, let me pass it on to Beast Moves because I want to get his input.
Okay, so shout out to the Magic for getting number one. I'm so happy that the Cleveland Cavaliers got the last one in the round. I just like them.
Okay.
I'm glad that Detroit is picking fifth, and I'm glad that Indiana's picking sixth. As a lifelong Bulls fan, you never want to see the people in your own division do well. You
Well,
want them to
see, I disagree because you know what? It doesn't matter. Oftentimes, it doesn't matter where you pick. The number one overall pick isn't always the best pick. We can go back to the Luca draft, for instance, where Luca's picked. What is Luca picked at fourth? I believe he was picked fourth.
Yes, but when you pick out of the top four, usually you don't get a transcendent guy.
That's not true because if you go
Unless
back
it's a
to
draft. Hold
Luca
on.
was third.
Let me
Luca was
finish.
third.
Cut me off. Now, normally outside of the top four, you do not get a transcendent guy unless it's a draft like the LeBron or the Jordan draft. Normally, it's four spots at the top. That's it.
what drafts are you paying attention to? Because for the last decade, there's been a guy that went like somewhere between 8 and 14 who turned out to be a superstar. See Paul George. See Kawhi Leonard.
A superstar.
Kawhi Leonard's a Hall of Famer. Paul George is a Hall of Famer. What are you talking about?
Well, I was talking about Paul George.
He's a Hall of Famer. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Everybody gets in the Basketball Hall of
Fame.
Everybody.
Not everybody. But my point is, he's a Hall of Famer, and he's a legitimate superstar.
Let me get back to this analysis. So, the Orlando Magic need to take Jabari Smith from Auburn, number one.
Jabari Smith?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I've seen that people are saying that the Thunder should take anybody who takes him in the top five. And you can't teach skill, you can't teach shooting, but you don't take that guy. He's like what, 120 pounds?
I totally disagree with you. I like Chet Holmgren. I like him a lot. I think that if you're looking for a solid NBA player, you don't take him. If you're looking for an immediate contributor and somebody who you can't miss on, then you don't take him. But if you are looking for a unicorn, you're looking for a guy who could potentially be best player in the league, an all-pro, a potential Hall of Famer, you take that guy and you hope he works out. Yes, I know he's too skinny.
You know who he's going to turn out to be? Carl Anthony Towns, where I'm the greatest shooting big man of all time. Yeah. But when you need to go get a bucket in the paint, you can't go get a bucket.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer this honestly. How often do you find a transcendent talent in the NBA draft? How often? Does every NBA draft have a transcendent talent?
Not every NBA draft has one.
In fact, most don't, right?
Yes.
So what you're looking for is you're hoping to get an all-star, a perennial all-star. You're hoping to get a superstar, and you're hoping to get a dude who can be on your team for 10 to 15 years and carry the load, hopefully. The NBA draft, my point is that the NBA draft has more Zach LaVines than it has LeBron James.
Okay. So
that's
let me
fair.
ask you this.
That's very fair.
I'm going to go, you call him a unicorn. I'm going to go to the guy before him that was called the unicorn. Great shooter, great skill to have, and it served him well in a lot of cases. But when you needed him to go get a bucket in the paint and have an unstoppable move, he didn't have.
Porzingis is a fine NBA player. It just didn't work out because he's hurt all the time. We don't know that
Yeah.
about Holmgren. We don't know if his body will hold up or not. We have no clue. Holmgren could be the next Kevin Durant. He could totally be that.
Yeah.
He's got that build.
Undersized.
Yeah, he's got that build. He's
He's
7
trying to
feet
take you off
tall.
the
He's
dribble, dude.
skinny. He can go off the dribble. Who are you watching?
I watched him.
Who are you watching? You clearly are not watching the game.
Oh, I watched that. I did watch it. You don't know what you're seeing, apparently.
Hey,
Because when he got up against other guys who were going to go to the NBA in the tournament, they shut him down. I forget who it was that they played.
Let me ask you another question. Let me ask you one more question regarding the college game. Do all great college players turn into great NBA players? I'm going to ask you, just answer the question. It's a yes or no question. It was a yes or no question. Do that.
No.
Okay, so let me ask my next. Let me give you the follow-up question. Let me
ask you a question. Let me ask you a question now.
Take turns, yeah.
A guy who's 120 pounds and 7 feet is really
Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant is.
Oh, he's 195. Holmgren's 195.
He's Kevin Durant. He's
okay.
Kevin Durant. He's the white Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant has the length to still defend, so that helps him out a lot. Even though you could back him to the paint, but his arms are still long enough to defend.
Thank you. He's white chocolate Kevin Durant. All right, that's what he is. He white chocolate Kevin Durant. All right.
He got the talent. Is there? I think. Go ahead. I'll wait. Go ahead, Beast Mode.
Now you can run a tape back in 3 years, and you'll see exactly.
I didn't say that he was going to be a good player. I said if you're reaching for the stars, you take him. If you're looking for a guaranteed player that can be a stud for your team, you don't take him. Because we don't know for sure. But if he's boomer, he's either going to be absolutely amazing or he's going to be absolutely terrible.
Foreigners have been decent. Like foreigners have been decent. So I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. I think the sneaky if Jaden Ivey, if he falls to the Kings, I think he could be sneakily just like I'm not saying he's gonna be as good as Ja Morant, but everyone's like it's Zion, and Ja Morant turned out to be the better player. I think he could be the best player, Jaden Ivey.
I actually like Ousmane Dieng, so from France. I think that he's going to be the sneaky guy there. Everybody should be looking to him. He's a 7 foot tall guy. He's another really skinny 7 foot tall guy. He's got to get his jump shot a little bit better. But he's going to be I have no clue what his position is.
He's Ousmane Dieng, small forward. He's 6'9".
Yeah. I don't know what I meant was I don't know what his position is going to be in the NBA, is what I should have said. He can play a little bit of everywhere. So because of his ball skills. And I like him. He's my sleeper. They've got him going like in the late teens. But I think that he's really a top 10 talent. He could potentially be the best player in the draft.
You can hear whatever you're typing. But another guy who's going to be, well, I don't think he's going to be a bust like Chet, but Pablo Banchero is not going to be what people think.
I disagree. I like him. I don't know what he's going to be in the NBA, but again, like I said, most NBA drafts don't have stars. I mean, they may have a star or two, but they don't really have great players like that. So you're just looking for solid pieces that you can add, and you're hoping that one day you can get that talent that's going to take you to the next level. But hey, we just ran out of time, fellas. So I do appreciate you for all that you do. For those of you who are watching, want to make sure that you watch us on YouTube, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars, leave a comment, and also watch the bonus content on YouTube. And we'll talk to you guys in a couple of days.